Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here today. I am excited to get started, and Shanna will be your instructor today. So whenever you're ready, Shanna, then take it away.
Hi everybody. It's so nice to see so many faces, and we're gonna get in some good experimenting with instructing online, which we probably will be doing some more of. So I just want to start with a quick funny. So I'm gonna try sharing my screen here. If I can share my screen. And then, I'm not sure I'm doing it right. We'll give it a try. So Zoom, can you guys see this?
Yeah, it looks great.
It should say visual summary. Let me see if I can move this guy and share. So this is just a little memory of last spring. Oh, no, that's not what I want to do. Sorry. Present, that's the right button. Okay, so this is a visual summary. So any of you who taught online, everybody, and recorded your meetings with your students, there are still pictures that save when those save into your drive. So here are some of mine. Oops, it won't let me. That's March. It says, let me tell you kids a story about my knee from long ago when I was in Africa. Oops. By April, I'm saying, oh, goody, little Timmy, I can't wait to hear which inappropriate subject you Googled with your school account using your school Chromebook this time. Oh, by March, hold up, how the hell did your mom get my cell phone number? And finally, June. So I don't know if any of you have some pretty funny faces from your meet stills, but you have to have a sense of humor. For sure. The other piece is we need to be brave. So that's so as I'll stop sharing for now. As Molly said, I'm Shanna Burchwell, and I teach at Swan River School in Big Fork. I teach 6th through 8th grade, English, social studies, French. Sometimes I get to work down the hall with some of the elementary teachers, which is really fun, like Sherry there. Hi, Sherry. So I'm just going to take us through what the writing process would look like. And we'll do it digitally, virtually, because that's how we did it in the spring. And it's what's coming up. So I'm gonna present my screen again. Sorry, I'm a little nervous, so if you'll forgive me. I think I'm getting this down, share and present. So at the top here, you'll see I've got, oh boy, this thing is in the way, is the bit.ly link to this slideshow. So if you want to go and look that up later, you can do that. This is my email address for the moment. I think we're going to change those, but for now, that's what it is. And we can get that bit.ly maybe over into the comments so people can just copy and paste it into a doc if they want. Molly, can you guys see these at the bottom of the screen, the pictures of everyone? Is that blocking the screen that I'm sharing?
I cannot see it.
Oh, great. So you can see the whole screen.
No, I can't see your screen right now, actually.
Oh, can anyone else see my screen? It's pink. It says Blackfoot. Thank you for all.
Oh, yes. That's correct.
Okay.
Screen.
All right. So anyway, a big shout out to Blackfoot. We just want to say thank you to them because obviously they've been awesome. So just a little bit about me. I really believe that for writing teachers to teach writing, you have to actually write, and we have to do it constantly and do it for the kids, in front of the kids, and do it spontaneously, really the way that we expect them to write. So we have to model that over and over, and that's what I've learned in the past 12 or so years of teaching writing. So we're going to start out, normally I show this video of me grading with a student. So after they've gone through the whole writing process, we sit down I give the student the pen, and then we go and talk through their piece of writing. And at the end, we talk about the grade that they've earned, and they have input in that. And it's a very powerful piece. So I'm going to skip that actually, because we're probably not going to be sitting down with our students one-on-one doing this. It's going to look like an online piece. So what does that look like? So I'm going to try this here. You can still see my screen. So this was a student who did an incredible amount of work on this is a visual essay. And so this turned out to be how I graded his piece, because he's not actually a huge reader. And I knew that all of those comments I could write in the side of his document, maybe he wouldn't take those in. So instead,
hey Lakota, so I've gone through and I graded your visual essay, even though you didn't turn it in silly. It's a wonderful piece of work and I'm really proud of it. I am sometimes able over here to make these voice comments. So when I go in here and say I want to make a comment, I can do this. It's called a moat. However, not every kid can access those, and I didn't want to leave a bunch of voice comments that you couldn't hear. So what I'm going to do instead is go back over and talk about the comments I've made. So on your first slide, this is beautiful. Love the old church. In fact, that's just how I imagine the J Mountain Church.
So I won't take you all the way through that, but this is an option using Screencastify to go through the student's work and talk them through the parts and pieces of it. That's if you can't get live one-on-one with a student. So that's one way that we can do the grading. And another way that I did it mostly for when we were in the spring was just meeting the student on their document and just making comments written on the side of the document. Those voice modes that I was talking about, and you can see it, I have it here. It's working better now, and there are a lot more terms and things to accept, etc. But a lot of kids weren't hearing those in the spring, so I quit using them because they weren't working so well. But with all this new technology, sometimes it takes a little bit for things to kick in. And so that is a good option to leave students, especially for your younger kiddos. They can hear your voice and it makes that connection. So that's a nice way to do that. So what I want to do today is actually take us through what it would look like instructing your students online for a piece of writing. So we're going to write a paragraph, and I'm going to model through that. But first, I picked a topic here, and if anyone has another topic they would prefer, we can throw that up in the comments. But what do we think about the importance or not of cell phones using, kids using them in education? So either in the classroom or at home. What do you guys think about that? And then I'm going to ask Molly to put us in breakout rooms, which I've never done, so this is pretty exciting. And then you guys can talk about that with your partner and just discuss what are the pros and cons of kids using their cell phones for education.
Hello, welcome back, everyone.
If they all come back.
Yeah. I think everybody.
We're back.
How did everybody's discussions go?
Good.
I love those breakouts.
Yeah, they're
Cool.
great.
That was my first time with that, and it was fantastic. I'm pretty impressed with the breakout sessions.
Yeah, how do you do that?
No, it's really simple. There's just a little button and you click breakout rooms and then you say how many you want. And so you can make, 5 breakout rooms for 30 people and you'll have more people in each discussion, but we just wanted it to be one-on-one. So
And then does it like randomly pick who you're going to be with?
it's completely random. Yeah, you can
Zoom
pick ahead of time.
like
if
a
you
meeting
had
on
a
my
class
computer.
where you knew all the students.
And I had to talk, so I was like, oh shit. No,
So-
it goes until like 3 o'clock, I think.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and
I
mute
fell asleep
everybody.
earlier.
Put Shanna back in charge right now.
So Molly did a great job explaining to everyone over in those
I
comments.
know we have to
but
keep
if you
our
can-
windows.
What was that? I wasn't sure if someone's asking a question. So if you can remember the name of the person who you went to the breakout session with.
Oh, shoot. Shanna.
Unmute. There we go. We're good. So yeah, if you can remember the name of the person you went to the breakout session with, that would work. Or, you know, Molly too, I don't know how hard it is to get back with everybody. If we just had new partners, that would work too. Either way.
If you guys don't remember the name of everybody that you were just speaking with, then you can maybe write that in the chat and we could randomly assign partners.
Either way, either way. So did everyone have some good conversations? So what I'd like to do for now is just, if you can, a couple of you or everybody, if you want, just a couple of ideas, whether it's a pro or a con, just kind of type those over in the chat real quick. Some that really stuck out to you. So for instance, I'm going to say cardboard viewer was a plus for using phones as a tool. Not everyone has cell phones. That's true. The cool thing is old cell phones, we can talk about what to do with those too. Missing out on teachable moments, taking my phone. Okay. This is awesome, you guys. This is fantastic. It's pretty interesting. At first I was feeling like everyone was like, no, 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 but now I'm seeing some positive ones. So that's really great too. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to move into the next piece here. You guys can keep writing ideas over there if you want, because that will help us when we go back and you draft your paragraph. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. So share. Now we're going to use this is what we call at Swan River a POF. If I can get there, there we go. So this is something I stole from way back up in Alaska from Sitka Mount Edgecombe High School, where I worked my very first year of teaching. The SEAL idea came from the Kalispell Public Schools. So claim, evidence, analysis, link. And this can be set up in all different ways. And I tell kids all the time, you might have one piece of evidence and nothing but analysis for the rest of the paragraph. You could have two pieces of evidence with analysis. You could have four pieces of evidence with analysis. It just depends on what you're writing. And I try to model all different uses of this, so it's not always just the same paragraph. It's very structured. My 6th, 7th, and 8th graders use this. The 5th graders use this. Every time we're doing a structured piece of writing, the kids ask me at school, they're just on the counter. They say, do I have to use a POF? And I look at them and I say, are you really asking me that? They know better. So as soon as I start brainstorming something on the board or talking about organizing pieces of information, I start hearing groans because they know exactly what's going to happen with that. And groans are a good thing. And it's good when they know it's coming. And I'll tell you what, keep using this over all of these years because it works. And I have kids that come back from high school and ask me for these. I also have an introduction paragraph and a conclusion paragraph plan that I make students use when they are writing an essay as well. And kids come back, like at least 10 a year come back and they give me a hug and I say, how's high school? And they say, it's fine. And I say, do you want a POF packet? And they say, yes, please. And I photocopy them for them. So that's why I'm doing it. Now this is digital, so it's a little bit different. You can use this in different ways. You can jot just 1, 2, 3 words per line. I sometimes write out more. A lot of kids like to just write whole sentences on this, but it's up to you and your grade level and how you think you can use this. Also later, I'll show you, this is what I use. The 5th grade one looks a little different and on down the line, and I have models for all of those different levels. But we'll start with this sort of middle school and then into high school age. So the first thing you'll do is when it comes your turn, you're going to do this as well. You're going to go File, Make a Copy. And we're going to call this Writing Session. And I'm going to pick the folder I want it in. This is in my Google Classroom folder. So I'm just going to put it right in my drive. And I'm going to scroll down here. Oh, it won't let me scroll down. Scroll down. Okay, sorry, this thing's in the way. And then I'm going to hit select. So now I have this in my drive. I'm going to say, okay. So I don't want to use the one, you guys don't want to use the one that I've given you access to. You're just going to make a copy. So I'm going to go to my drive. Keep moving this thing out of my way. In my drive. And right here in my drive, here's my new copy. So now I've got this ready. So I would be doing this actually for my students. Oh, I have 2 open. Oops. Okay. So some of you are familiar with the idea of step up to writing. These were always black and white, just on the counter paper ones in my classroom. Now that we're digital, I just went ahead and did the colors. And I find that when the kids use the color, analysis is always what we need more of. When we're writing to strengthen our paragraphs, we always want more analysis. So when kids actually write out the paragraph, and I'll model this as well, I can look at it from across the room and say, do you have enough red? And they know if they do or not. And then they know how to go back and add more examples. So the green is go ahead and state your claim. Evidence, yellow, slow down, give me a piece of evidence. And then analysis, stop and prove it, explain it, give me examples, cite the text, use citations. So especially 7th and 8th graders will use citations from the text here with page numbers, or at least just a little blurb of the citation that they can add in the paragraph later. I use the little blue transition box here so they remember to use the transition. And then green at the end, go ahead, restate your claim. And we practice restating claims a lot in class. So my claim is going to be, though, this is also with the counter argument here. Some may disagree. Cell phones are actually beneficial to the learning, beneficial to students learning. There we go. And so it's a little goofy because it's digital, oops, but so you can just kind of delete extra spaces if you want. Okay, first of all, there's my transition. Let's see, I think, oh, I was gonna talk about cardboard. No, how about, first of all, apps. Okay, so, and this will turn into complete sentences later. So my analysis for this is, first we have these cardboard, some of you saw those cardboard viewers. And they go with Google Expeditions. The other thing is, I'm not sure about this and I would have to look into it, but I know that our parents use Remind. Maybe kids can use that. I think that would be pretty good for like remind students about field trips or homework. Okay, so there's some apps that they could use that are great for that. For me, videos are a big deal. Oops. Also, videos. And where I use those are in world language class. Tell a kid to go around the school, take a video of themselves speaking French while they are introducing themselves to the cook, or saying, this room is the office, and these are the supplies in the office in French. World languages. You could also use this, oops, did I spell that wrong? Nope, okay. Languages, sorry. Let's see what's another way. World languages, what did I say? Videos. Oh, my students made commercials. And then the 7th graders, they act out King Lear, each act. So the skits, 6th graders act out, what do you call those? Greek myths. So when I was a kid, we used my friend Annie's brand new camcorder for acting out skits. Today, kids would just use their phones. The other piece is they know how to edit those with Video, which I'm not very good at, but the kids are. Okay, and then finally, someone actually said this. I feel like maybe it was Candy who said it, or maybe I read it in the comments. This is most importantly to me. Most importantly, responsibility. I really like that, responsibility. So sorry if I stole someone's idea. I can't spell today. Responsibility. Okay. And then my analysis for that is, this is a digital world. Digital world. What's that smart thing? Be smart, be the Google learning to be safe, smart. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? They're like these new standards: safe, smart, secure. And then, oops, I still didn't spell that right. Using my tools. I'll come up with another one there. Okay, so I'm going to bring my link back up. Now, I'm going to restate my claim, not rewrite it. There's a big difference there. I always remind students of that. For a plethora of uses and learning, cell phones can be awesome tools. How about that? Okay, so what I do with this too while I'm doing this in the classroom with students, let's say 6th graders are 11, are they like 11 and a half? However old the kids are, I actually set a timer for myself. So when I'm doing this, they're quiet, they're listening, they're paying very close attention, and it's a very focused piece, because a lot of times the kids in my room are, 2 of them are in the hallway working at a table, they're partnered off, some of them are in the library. This is a time where we come together, they sit and they give me that 11 minutes. And if my time runs out, I have to stop. So to ask for that really focused lecture time, this is a time that I do that. So I'm gonna ask now, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Well, actually, maybe I'll leave it up, but who noticed something about what I was doing there? It's so quiet. Anyone can unmute and just tell me. What'd you notice I did?
Think aloud.
Think aloud, absolutely. I'm talking out loud.
You organized your thoughts.
Organize my thoughts. Anything else?
You didn't censor yourself.
Nope.
You let us hear all of your thoughts.
And I didn't plan for this ahead, guys. I really didn't. It's all real. It's real writing. Kids need to see what real writing looks like, and that it doesn't just come out and that, yeah, you have to delete. Yeah, I do spell things wrong. And they love to tell me when I spelled something wrong. Believe me, they love that. So
I think it made it really efficient for you to be able to just, that process and you followed it.
Somebody in the comments also said it was great that you modeled what you were doing.
okay, does anyone have any questions about that process? I'm gonna stop sharing now so that I can see you guys. If If I can figure out how to stop sharing.
I'm curious when you introduce, when you first introduce what everyone's supposed to put into every area, if you give them any criteria for analysis, could be this, or, you know, or do you leave it real open-ended and let them see you model it?
So we're usually writing the same. So for instance, let's say they're writing a description of the rat's house from Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. So we do a lot of brainstorming ahead of time. So kids will see this information, like you guys put a lot of your brainstorming thoughts, like tons of really, really great thoughts over in the chat. So we will do that together normally on the board. But what we've just done as grown-ups, as adults, we can do this with our kids. So the kids can look over in this chat and see all kinds of examples. So
I think I just worry that with some of the students I work with, I have to teach them the vocabulary. Like, this is what counts as analysis, and this is what counts as a claim, and things like that. And I didn't know if you had any pre-teaching you did that talked about some of these terms to make sure they understood those before you jumped into this modeled sample.
yes, and in the beginning, and what grade do you teach?
High school, but most of the students that I teach have been in special education English classes. And
Okay.
sometimes that academic language hasn't been used with them before. And so I have to teach that to them.
Yeah, well, and that's what I would say, start the year off, day one, start with a piece of writing. So talk about what a claim is and practice claims. And we do that. So I'll say, let's write 3 different claims. And then we go around the room and we share them. And then not only do they have 3 claims, one of those could then turn into their restated claim. So they've already written it when they get to the end. And so we talk about the difference between also opinion writing, which is for the lower grades, and argument writing. So that's a big difference too, especially distinguishing, because we're not saying, I think that. No, you're giving me a specific argument. You're giving me evidence that proves that argument. It's no longer, I think that's pretty because in my heart, I like pink, or whatever it is. You know, you are giving specific examples. And we do talk about that a lot, the difference between an evidence sentence and an analysis sentence. And we do, I model that over and over, what they look like. But yes, you do have to front load that. That's a great question. Any other questions? Okay, so I am going to do this. Oh, that's not gonna, oops. I'm going to put the bit.ly into the, I lost you guys, here we go, sorry. I'm gonna put the bit.ly over here in the comments, and then I will ask you to go to that 3rd slide and then make a copy of the POF into your drive, and then go ahead and fill it out. And I'll just be here if you have questions. Hold on, I've got to find this bit.ly. Bit.ly. It won't let me copy it. Oh, here we go. Aha! I do know how to do technology. Copy and zoom. Edit. Okay. So if you need me to model the file, make a copy again, let me know.
If you wouldn't mind modeling that, I came in from another class, so I came in a little late, or just mentioning in the chat would be great.
Sure, so I'll just do screen share again because that's what I know how to do. So if you go to this slide, right, oops, the 4th slide, I'm sorry, where it says POF, and then you click on that, it's gonna take you to this, but you don't wanna write on this one. So you wanna go up here to File, make a copy, And then here you're going to rename it whatever you want to call it. So I called mine, I'm going to call this one writing session 2. And then put it into your drive. So it's here. And then you just say, sorry, this gets in my way. Then you select that and you say, okay. And then when you go to your drive, it's there and it's your own copy. Is that okay? Anybody else have questions or need anything? Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. And oh, just a reminder, I took the positive argument. You go ahead and take the negative argument if you like. It's up to you. You get to pick your side. But you can't pick both. You gotta pick one or the other for this piece.
So are you wanting us to fill this out right now?
Yep.
Okay, on our own, not with our partner, right?
No, this part you'll just do on your own.
Okay, thank you.
But if you need help or have questions, let us know. And it's okay to just turn off your camera and go to work. If some of you want to look at this as a model and do it on a piece of paper, totally don't blame you. I have a lot of students, I started giving them the option if they wanted to fill out the POF on paper or if they wanted to do it digitally. A lot of them like the paper. So if you want to do that, feel free, it's up to you. But you do have to plan it out with your claim, your pieces of evidence and analysis, and your restated claim. And you can have more than one piece of evidence with analysis, and you can have only 2 if you want. Another piece too to remember is it's okay when we're meeting with students like this to just have some quiet time where they're just working and we're just together. So feel free to do that. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you have at least one piece of evidence and analysis. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you have 2 pieces of evidence and analysis. Give me a thumbs up if you can restate your claim. Okay, and I need to figure out how you gave them those thumbs up on the screen like that, because I don't know how to do, oh, reactions, fun, okay, yay. This is great. Sorry, I'm learning all the time. And then how do you make it go away? Does it just go away on its own? Oh, there it went, okay, cool. Okay, for the sake of time, I'm gonna move us on here a little bit. But I will say it feels a little weird, but I think we just need to get used to that time where we have our students on the screen and just letting them have quiet work time and we're together, that's okay. One of my favorite days of creative writing online last spring, the kids were just coming up with, the setting, the main character, and the conflict of a short story they would write. And they just wrote a bunch of ideas down and then put them in the chat box, and it was really quiet and it was really fun, and we had all these ideas flowing, and that's okay. It's just a different piece that we're learning to teach with. So okay, so I will say what we've just done would be just all I would do for one assignment, right? For one lesson. But we're adults and we're in this 2-hour class, so I'm gonna move on to what the second assignment would look like, which would be turning my POF that I've just written out, my planning sheet, into a piece of writing. So here's my, oh, I have to share my screen, hold on. Share my screen. Can you guys see my screen now? Okay, great. So here's my planning sheet. what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open a new document for my drive. If I go to Docs, oops, sorry, I should do my waffle here. That's a little better. So when I go into this document and just open it this way, it's going to give me a choice. So what I want is MLA report, because then my paper that I'm going to write is already in MLA format. So it already has my whole heading up here. So I'm going to write my name. Oops, can't spell. And I model this for the kids over and over, because I'm telling you what, even though it's here for them, they forget. Even by 8th grade, sometimes they're not writing the MLA format date. So I'm always trying to remind them, this is how you do it. It's there for you. And then the professor is just the teacher. And this is session 2. And this is the 5th of August. (2020). Okay, so all of this is Latin, and I tell them they can use a title if they like, but they don't have to. I don't generally use a title, especially just for a paragraph, but they can. So we're gonna, oops, we'll go back, and we'll call this cell phones. And notice it's already double spaced for me in 12-point font, Times New Roman. And you guys can choose to allow your students to use different fonts, or it just depends on what kind of document they're turning in. You will see later when I give models of what the students do with this writing that, you know, there are times and places for different fonts. But for now, so I'm gonna go through this, though some may disagree. So, okay, so I'm actually going to keep this because I like it. And I'm just gonna copy and paste it. And this is the joy of using a digital POF. Oops, okay, so now this is a fun problem. This is a real life problem. See how this blue line or this triangle up here is all messed up? Somehow Google Docs likes to do that to my students all the time. So we just have to align this up back like this, and then we're back in business. Okay, so notice it's already green. So though some may disagree, cell phones are actually beneficial to students learning. This is plural and possessive. I would explain to the students. We do a quick little grammar lesson about where to put that apostrophe and why it's there. It's a good opportunity for that. First of all, apps. So I'm going to turn that into a complete sentence, but this is going to be yellow because it's my, oops, I need my transition is blue. So, oops, maybe blue. First of all, comma, space, now we need yellow. There are so many apps students can use on their, oops, wow. It's totally finishing my sentences for me, that's new. Okay, so now I need specific examples of that. So my analysis, this is my generalization about apps. Now I'm going to give specific analysis. What are the exact examples of that? So Google Expeditions can be used to take students on tours around the globe. With the cardboard viewer, each student can use their own phone to go on an adventure. Okay, what else do I have in here? Expeditions, cardboard, remind. Oh, look, I've got a spelling error. I'm gonna go fix that. Oh, Each student, not students, student. Apps, applications, I'm gonna say, just because I said apps up here somewhere. There, I said apps there, so I'm gonna call this applications just to vary my sentence structure a little bit. Applications like remind can help teachers. I want a different word than remind. Remind, synonym. Nudge, prompt, jog someone's memory. I like nudge. Students. I keep using students over and over, so I'm going to say kids to do homework or bring a lunch. I'm running out of room here for a field trip. Now, you're noticing my paragraph's getting pretty long already, and I'll tell kids sometimes, maybe you want to leave out one of these pieces of analysis. Maybe you don't like that as much anymore. Like maybe I don't like this part about video, or maybe I only want 2 pieces of analysis for this piece because it's going to get so long. And I'm going to cut myself off here just for the sake of time. And I think you guys get the idea. So sometimes I just do this, and maybe my clock ran out of time anyway, and I'm just going to finish it up. So I'm gonna restate for a plethora of uses and learning. I like my restated claim, so I can copy that. And I'm gonna paste it. And I'm gonna turn this green because I restated my claim. And then I'm actually gonna go back and put this back in Times New Roman because I realized that that font changed. 12-point font, Times. Somebody likes lots of fonts. Yes, that would be me. I'm not sure why it's like bold, but in any case. So when I go back and I tell students to look at this, what they've typed up. I tell them, sometimes they'll just type it all in black, and then I go back and make them put the colors in, because they can see how much red do you have in there? How many specific examples did you use? Do you have a citation from the text, depending on what they're writing about? So any questions about that or anything that people have noticed? I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing if that's okay. If I can figure out how to do that. Where's that thing at? There it is, okay, stop share. Okay. So that's my model of my writing piece. What do you guys think? Questions? What did you notice? Can you put the example docs? You have, oh yes, the ones that I just wrote, I will put that in links in the folder. Is that what someone's asking? Who was that? Sorry. Christy, is that what you're asking, if I'll put those in the folder for you as models? I can't see Christy. There's so many of you. Is that okay, Christy? Yes, perfect, thank you. Okay, the color is a big deal. So because I model this generally at school on the smartboard, and going back and adding that color in, it's a whole different world, because everything is so visual. People are visual, all of us, I don't care who you are. When we see it visually, it really helps, so. And then again, I do that teacher talk. I throw in a grammar point. I for real go and Google a synonym. Sometimes I'll go back and highlight, because I wrote students like 4 times. So I will just highlight that and say, oh, look, kids, did I vary my sentence structure? What other word can I use for this? Any other questions or things that you noticed? And then I'm not sure who Kay Cole is, but I see your comment here, and maybe we can chat a little after, if that's okay.
Hey, Shayna, just to reiterate, the MLA template that in Google Docs in your Google Drive, Google Drive in your Google Docs, and it's a pre-made template.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. Thank you. So if you want that pre-made template where you delete the Latin and it has the MLA format and the MLA formatted date with the heading and everything, just go. But if you say create a new doc with the plus in your drive, it's not going to give you that option. So I'm going to share that just because it's better to see, right? We're talking about visual. So if I go, close that down. So if I go to my drive, come on, Waffle. I have the opportunity to create a new doc, but if I do that, it's not going to give me all of those examples. Oh, I guess if I go down here from template, okay, that will work, but you're looking for report MLA. I'm not sure why that's add-on, but also if you just go to your Waffle and you go to docs here, it's going to give you that choice. And because I use that one all the time, it's first, and then it's easy to access. I hope that helped. Okay, so normally what I would do is ask you all to go take a minute and write up your own paragraph. Again, for the sake of time, I think right now we need at least a 5-minute break so people can use the restroom and just go get a drink of water, do some jumping jacks, but stretch. So let's take 7 minutes. Is that okay, Molly?
Yes, sounds good. I will see you all back here in 7 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna set a little timer so I know I'm back.
Yes, at 2:12.
2:12, sounds good.
Anna, are you back on?
Yes, ready to go. I added those, I added a doc called From the Session. So there's the bit.ly link, and then the paragraph and the POF are in there now. So that'll be good. So I think what I'll do, again, just because looking at the time, I want to go through and talk about what you do with this writing. So we've kicked it old school. We planned it out. We wrote it out, whether you did it digitally or if kids do it by hand. We made them go through that writing process. What normally I would do next is once they've typed up their doc, they share it. So let's actually do that. I'm gonna open the paragraph. So, and you can do this in the classroom, and my kids do this in the classroom, or you can do it not in the classroom, and they did it that way too. So what I did was I would start a doc, and it was called the peer editing doc. And then kids would put a link from their paragraph that they wrote, and then another kid would write their name and say, I'm gonna peer edit. So, share this guy. So, where's my, what I actually made for us was this doc, but I think we won't have time to get through all of that. So you've got, you remind them to turn their share settings on with anyone with the link can comment. And then I remind them to praise, question, suggest in the comments, or they can give grow and glows, and you can make that in a chart, in a doc, or in a slideshow. There are any number of ways to have kids do peer editing. So I would put my name here, a link to my doc, and then maybe Sherry's gonna peer edit for me. And then Sherry will have the option to go to that link. And then later when I'm grading with the students, I have the links to their docs all in one place together anyway. So here I would go up to my share settings. This says anyone on the internet can view this because that's the way I set it. I can change it to Swan River School. And I can also put in, if I just want Sherry to edit my document, I can say Sherry, there's Sherry Bradstreet, and I'm gonna make her an editor, but I actually wanna make her a commenter because you don't want the kids to edit each other's work as in change it. You want them to be able to comment on it and make comments about the editing. That's a better way to go. So I'm gonna actually get rid of that. I'm gonna let her be a viewer. And it will send her a notification. So, but I'm gonna change the spec so I don't forget anyone with the link. And I'm just letting them be viewers for this one. So later, if you wanna file make a copy of this, then you can change it. Anyway, so then the kids would share with each other. And then up here, it's gonna say suggesting. And then as soon as they say, oh no, you did that wrong, it's gonna give a little suggestion box. This is also that point where you can use Mote and use the microphone to record a comment. And so that's something you guys can decide if you think that's okay. And there's this thing with kids on that. It's okay, I know, for teachers to do that, but for kids, there was something about being 18. So that's something to research more. It's new, so I'm still learning that one. So what the kids would do is they would go and edit, and then I would sit down with them, give them the pen, etc. Or I would meet them on their dock, and I would make comments over here or suggestions or ask them questions, and then they would go and grade it. So that's live grading is what I call it. Let's see, I want to talk next about, I wonder if I can collapse that. Oh, I can, okay. So general publications. So what do we do with this writing? That's where I was. So at Swan River School, we have a book blog. A 7th grader named Kennedy created this book blog. This is a website, and it's just from Google Sites. I do have a session tomorrow on how to create a website, if you want to join that. Anyway, so Kennedy not only created this website, she maintained it. And the students, their job is to read for 30 minutes every night. That's their homework every night. And we used to use Accelerated Reader, and then that went away. So I needed a way to see that the kids were writing or were reading at night. And so they created this website, and instead of writing a book report, they write book reviews. So these are the 8th graders Q1 book reviews. It's a slideshow of 3 slides. Let's see the testing. So on the first slide, they tell me the who, what, where, when, basic information. And then they write me a structured paragraph, and they tell me why they liked the book or didn't. Here is a link Lily added to her POF. Oh, access denied. So she didn't share that with me properly, but I believe Lily did it because I know Lily. And then here are some quotes from the book that are her favorite quotes, and then vocab words that she found in the book. Oops. So anyway, oops, Q1. This website's pretty simple. There are some definitely more complex ways you can go about it. Oh, where the red fern grows. Somebody reread that. Hunger. Let's see what this one looks like. So again, it's the style that they want. They can pick the font. This is one of those times where they can do whatever, get creative with it. Again, here's the, here's her paragraph that she wrote. This is probably her POF, maybe? There's her POF. So here she planned it out, used it, and there it is. Anyway, so that's one way we can publish student writing. School newsletter. We'll see if this works, guys. They were working on the school website. So I'm so sorry about this. The school website is usually right here. And then right here it says school newsletter. So we publish our school newspaper as a newsletter on our school website, and it's a Google site. And so we have a creative writing class, and the students do structured writing there, and they maintain the school newsletter. This is Kennedy, the girl I was talking about. She's holding an award. So when we talk about writing for real, in creative writing class, there's a website called readworks.org, and readworks.org hosted a contest. It's called How the Run Should End. So the Halloween before last, this website published a series of chapters of a story. And of course the ending sucked. It was terrible. And they did that on purpose. So they asked 6th through 8th graders to rewrite the ending. 5,460 middle school students submitted their endings. This is the winner. These are the runners up. And out of the top 15 finalists is Kennedy, my girl right here. She's also the one that maintains the book blog. So there are some really amazing real world ways that students can put their writing out there. And those are some of them. Also just being creative with the writing. So 8th graders, Underground Railroad, again, they created a website. This is a live, real website. And Shelly, if any of you get to go to Shelly Emsley's sessions, she's pretty amazing. And I can't take credit for the design. She actually came in and talked to the kids about design and making all the pages look nice and the way you line it all up. But the students created this in groups, in pairs. Each pair had their own page with information. So there's Levi Coffin, Harriet Tubman, here's their page. They decided to break it up this way. They've got a little fun facts, stuff you should know kind of piece. If I go back to this, the conductors, what's really fun is the Harriet Tubman, the conductors page, they made a link to the kids' Harriet Tubman page because they didn't want to repeat the information. So this is all 8th grade writing, and it didn't just happen. They don't just open a website. First, they had a project plan. So there's Piper and Ashley. They have this is what they're going to write about. Here's their topic, their goals and objectives. Here's a loose calendar about when they thought they would have everything done. Here's some links to their resources and tools. This I probably wouldn't do again, but it's a picture of the layout for their website. That was probably not necessary, but these are the notes. They had to turn in notes, jotting from different websites where they got information. Then they had to plan. Because we were in class at this time, they were planning and I just had them take pictures. Now, someone was talking about why cell phones maybe aren't the best and why not just use a Chromebook. Well, because Chromebooks take terrible pictures. So that's another reason a cell phone could be useful. Because I can't actually read what Delcy wrote here. I can see she did the work, but it's hard for me to check that over if I'm online. And then editing. So each page, so here's the conductors, here's the glows and grows, and the kids all put their initials. They were required to make these comments. They got graded on that part. Just like in the real world today, we go on Yelp, we rate a restaurant. These kids are used to doing this. If you give them a grade or points for it or whatever, tell them that's part of it, they want to do it. So that's Underground Railroad. Triangle Fire. So this morning, if anybody has any questions, just let me know because I can't see you guys. Just holler at me. Sorry if I'm droning on. I'll try to go quickly. But so when we read this, this is actually, this book is called The Triangle Fire, A Brief History with Documents. The 8th graders don't know until later, but this is a college text that we use. The reason that I use it is because it has primary documents. A lot of them are newspaper articles or interviews. So they're at a level that the 8th graders can understand. Padlet is what we used for this final project. And you hopefully joined a Padlet this morning. I love this website, or it's an app. You do have to pay if you want more than 3 Padlets, but it's really worth it. So for this, the kiddos wrote an argument. So Max Blank and Isaac Harris were the owners of the Triangle Factory. A fire broke out, 126 people died, most of them young women. And the guys got off in the end. And so the kids go back and say, they become lawyers, they write an argument, they cite the text, there's textual evidence that shows whether they think those guys really were guilty or not guilty. You can see it's a lot easier to write a guilty verdict than a not guilty. You'll see most of these are guilty. There's a couple not guilties in there. So then they went to online voice recorder and they did this.
Screaming, running, and chaos. The setting in the ash building was being enveloped in flames, blocked fire escapes, and immigrant workers with nowhere to go. After protesting for better working conditions, the employees' worst fear became actuality in a fire on March 25th, 1911. During this time period, immigrant women were treated very poorly. Editor Joanne E. Argersinger compiled this book so well to highlight their struggles. Max Blank and Isaac Harris are certainly guilty for the Triangle Fire catastrophe. The building codes were not up to date. They kept fire escape doors habitually locked. There were unknown exits kept from the girls, and they put money over their workers' lives.
So he has 3 body paragraphs. If you could hear from his thesis, but the kids then they have to go listen to 3 or 4 other arguments, and then they get to comment right here. And you'll notice they're saying, they're giving specific examples, good vocabulary, awesome argument, great quotes, she means citations. All I would change is to be more excited and show more emotion in your argument. So they know that they're graded on these comments. And sometimes, there's a silly one, but in general, they take this very seriously. And this is a great, Padlet's a great place to put all of these arguments together. It's a little easier than a document with links. Let's see, oops. This was something actually Shelley had a technology class, and a couple of my students did this just of their own volition. They made this interactive slideshow, and it's like a choose your own adventure, so it gives all the information. They just did this for fun. So this would be another way to present actually both sides of the argument, but you can say you want to hear this
Hello,
argument.
gentlemen. Once again, Your Honor, the men of the other side are guilty.
So there's that. Anyway, that was a pretty neat other way to present that information. Oops. So online voice recorder, they just click this button and they record, and then it saves to their drive. So let's say I want to say, hello, I am testing. How is it going today? I hope you were having fun. And then I'm going to save it. It's going to, oh, you know what? This one, I'm on a Mac, so it's going to go somewhere else. But in any case, if you are on a Chromebook, it goes right into your drive. So that made it really easy. The cool thing about this is that these kids are writing an argument, they're planning it out, they get a peer at all that, they write it, but then they read it again over and over and over because they're practicing it. And then they record it, and then they say, oh, I messed up. So they're practicing reading, writing, speaking, and listening skills. It's all there, and it's really powerful, and they enjoy it. Oops, sorry, I keep get that out of my way. There it is. Oh, simple plan. Oh, this is stop it. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. Go away. There we go. Oh, it won't let me get at the plan. Anyway, well, outsiders. Again, we kick it old school still. These are just some wanted posters that they made that we put on the hallway walls. They are required to use MLA format. So one of the paragraphs is a description of the character. You can see they're citing Hinton for what they look like, and then the other why they're wanted for acts of rivalry or loyalty. So either for being a good character or bad character, but they make those using some digital pieces and not. So, oh, I stopped sharing. I'm gonna take a break really quick. Does anyone have any questions so far? I'm just droning on here, I feel like. Any comments? Anything you want to say? Okay, I'm going to show you some more examples if that's okay. Just holler at me if you need to. Share. Oops, I don't know what that is. Uh-oh. Here we go. Escape. Writing process. Okay, outsiders. So this is a visual essay that they did at the end of the book. So instead of, an introduction paragraph with a thesis statement, they have a tagline down here which works as their thesis. So this design, these kids just come up with, I would never have been this creative. They're just amazing. If you're not changing your mind, are you even using it? Oh, pretty good tagline. They pick a citation about the way Pony viewed the Socs and his life at the beginning of the book. Then they write a paragraph about it. Notice they're using in-text citations. Then a quote about how his perceptions had changed by the end of the novel. Again, citations as part of their analysis. And then the last slide is something that they learned, how one of their perceptions was changed in life. And so this is all about Jade. She was new with us this year. A student who started in 7th grade. We moved her up to 8th grade. It was a good challenge for her. And all this is about her experience coming and what she thought Montana would be like moving from California, and then how it ended up at the end. So, and that's just one example, of course. To do that, I got a little help for brainstorming. So I set them up with this. They need to go back and find citations. So a realization or situation that occurred, the supporting citation, and the page number. So then when they go back to fill in their planning sheets, they have a whole list of analysis that can go in to support their pieces of evidence. Let's see. Oh, this is my model for them. you can see how boring it is compared to the kids. Like they're just so much more creative. Anyway, so, oh, another thing I did here, because I had a student who his reading, he was really challenged with reading. So I had to make sure that there was always an auditory element for him, an audio piece. So, oops, I think I have to present it to make it work. So I went back and just.
In the beginning of Hinton's classic novel, Ponyboy has a plethora of predetermined notions about the people in his world.
So anyway, you can do that. You can add in these voice pieces. You just go to insert audio, and I made that just with the online voice recorder. So anytime, especially for the younger kids, and this helps with differentiation. So I'm thinking of like some second graders might be able to read this. Most of them wouldn't. So maybe if you inserted that, they could read along, or it would help them with some big words. But let's see, an option for grading. And I've already shared with this with you, but I'll just reiterate. You can screencastify for grading. So this is that other students. Okay, the Odyssey, I'll skip through this. Well, we'll say Instagram and memes. Memes are pretty fantastic because, oh man, as writing teachers, we're like, that's not writing. But the truth is with memes, it's taking a lot of big information and summarizing the text in such a small way that it's very challenging for certain students. So I think it's a good challenge because sometimes we just have to say it in a short way. We don't get a 5-paragraph essay. And in the world today, a lot of times we don't do that. So this is an Instagram ending. And silly old Mrs. Burchwell, I have this like template. And then the kids were like, Mrs. Burchwell, why don't we just go to this website, or is it Zeub.com? It generates fake Instagram posts for you. So I didn't know that, but the kids told me that. And so if you give them that opportunity, they will just run with it. A lot of this I've learned from kids too. So don't be afraid to be brave and give them those chances. Let's see, whose poems? The assignment. So this is after reading chapter 5 and they listen to the poem Good Grease. They brainstorm a list of keywords and then they use that to write a poem about Saw's Day. And then they write their own poems and illustrate them. So that was really fun, just to throw in a little bit of poetry. I don't do as much as I should, but I think it's important. King Lear, this is really fun. So for the culmination, we start out with a family photo. And I used to make them draw this. And then someone was like, Mrs. Burchwell, why don't we just take a picture? So we did. There's lots of props and costumes. The culmination is they plan and peer edit and go through the writing process, an argument whether the play was good or whether it stinks and students shouldn't have to read it. So this is Avery showing me her planning packet. So instead of just like, you know, throwing it in a doc, she actually made this slideshow for it. But again, camera not so great. So a better camera would be nice. And then they write their review. And I love this negative one. Tired of reading boring books? Why read King Lear by William Shakespeare and your streak of boring books will continue. So I love the negative ones. Yeah, right? Because they get to just hate on it, even though they really love it. This terrible play can be avoided by, it should say, because of weak character development and too much drama. And boy, do they go on about it. When kids have a lot to say, they make this play garbage. I mean, that's great. I love it. So what I do is I make a contest and tell them that they vote on the best negative and the best positive review, and then you can post it on something like Goodreads. I used to try to put it on Amazon reviews, but that kind of became problematic. So this is a great way to do that. And then again, it's publishing that writing for real. Oops. Long walk to water. This is an example. So when students feel strongly about something, this was just a simple question that I asked on Google Classroom. And I'm sorry if this is small. Ooh, okay. So even just, what did you think of the ending as a Google Classroom question? I thought the ending was really cool. I was surprised because I didn't think that Salva was going to find his family again and that they died in the war. Although I did know that it was Salva who made it possible for Naya's village to build, and I think that's supposed to say, a well and a school. So obviously I didn't ask them to do POFs for this, but it's just one of those quick check-in things where I'm getting lots of writing. There was a gentleman earlier today who was on the flip grid, and he said, I'm going to answer like a 7th grader. Yes, no, maybe, yes, no. And I thought, you know, if you make them right, then they just can't help themselves. So this is some other writing stuff. You guys can look at that later if you want. Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim, I do a group essay. So as 6th graders, they're still learning to write as opposed to writing to learn. So they all write the introduction and the conclusion together. And then each of there are 3 students in the group, and each writes a body paragraph. So then in their group, they peer edit each other, and they're working as this group, and they, you know, they're required to collaborate, basically. There's a really cool, I'm gonna have to exit this to get to this. Vocab. So vocab's always a struggle. This year, I tried having them keep lists, and I told them they could do it in a doc or a slideshow. This kiddo went all out. So, I mean, why not? I'm concerned if you do this dance. He's using his characters from a video game, but he's giving me the definition, he's giving me the sentence, and he's coming up with a way to link it to what is interesting to him. And also, kids find their own vocab words. Sometimes I'll say, like with Mrs. Frisbee, I'm like, you have to learn how to spell pneumonia, and you need to know what the lee of the stone is. But mostly, you know, they come up with their own words. Greek myths, the kids, they wrote the skits in their own words. And then they used WeVideo, which I'm not super versed in, but.
Nympsal traveled from forests and rivers to see Arachne weave.
Minerva must have given you your gift. Ha, Minerva's taught me nothing. I taught myself everything.
Right then and there, Arachne challenged Athena to a weaving contest. Go.
Let's see which one of us should be called the goddess of the loom.
The nymphs were frightened to hear such scorn in the powerful goddess of Mount Olympus. When the contest reached Minerva's ears, she was furious. She disguised herself as an old woman and traveled to Arachne's cottage.
Anyway, if you guys all have the link to this slideshow, so you can go watch all this later if you like. I am Cleopatra. So this is going to be, so this is something that by the time we got to this book, we were halfway through finishing this book when online happened. So when it came time to write, we were doing this. This is what they came up with. This is just summarizing chapters 6 through 8. They came up with, well, we borrowed this template from a website, which I'll show you, but it's basically just a digital National Geographic magazine, and they're just summarizing little bits of these 3 chapters in partners. Look at that. These are 6th graders. I just want to say, they're a really amazing class. I'm not going to lie, but like, this is just a fake commercial about some information that was in the book. And I look at this and I'm like, so bowled over. They were so excited about the design of this and about adding pictures and making it look just like a real magazine. And man, they just really knocked it out of the park. I was just very proud of them. This is the site where we get that information. It's called Creative Ed Tech. I really encourage you to check it out. There's so many great ideas there. But they had to take summary notes before they started. And they had to plan out with the news story. They wrote it like a news story, actually. And then for the final essay, this is the piece where I'm just gonna take you to my classroom. So this is what I had to do, basically what we just did together. So here I am giving them the introduction paragraph to the essay. This is a model for them. So here's their model. with their connecting sentences, the title of the book and the author, here's a thesis, putting it together, and then their introduction paragraph. So I did all of that, but while I was doing it, I did a Screencastify video. So they're watching me do that live teacher talk thing. They're just watching a video, but it's there for them. And then this is a model of an essay, the full essay. So I went through and I did that for the introduction paragraph, for each of the body paragraphs, for the conclusion paragraph. And as a result, this is all at home. These kids are all at home. This is my result. So this kid actually turned something in. I don't know what happened. So I got almost every single kid except for one, and there was a specific case here, turned their essays in. So I thought that was pretty amazing. The Giver, super fun. This is, Giver was very, very end. They wrote their own endings. I didn't know how this was gonna go, but they sure did it. A lot of them turned that in. This is an assignment that I gave them online. So they went through, I gave them this template of the slideshow, and they wrote their definition of the utopia, what the part was here. And then later I had them go back to this assignment again and link it to how that was happening in Jonas's community where they saw that there. So this student did a really excellent job, but really, I mean, the writing is there. They're doing the work. So, because they have that plan in their brain, that structure of it. Plan. Oh, there's the plot diagram. This is a great tool. It's called Storyboard That. So exposition, conflict, rising action. And then the next one is the other parts. So the following action, resolution. So this is a paid app, Storyboard That, but it's totally worth it. It's pretty cheap, and the kids can go and they can make any size or shape of storyboards they want, and then go back and summarize the different part, either a chapter or the whole book or however you want to do it. They could write their own story and storyboard that, their own story with pictures, which is really great. So here I've put for you, these are all the links to the different planning sheets for different levels. The second grade one is here, and actually Sherry and I worked on this together, this little animal report, and so these are hers. I need to credit her for that. But just ways to organize their writing for when they went back and wrote about the animal that they were researching. So that was really fun. And I think that's all the examples I have for you. So we have a little bit of time left here. Actually, I'm gonna stop sharing and take a little breath. How's everybody doing? I'm gonna stop talking for a minute.
So I actually just want to say before everybody finishes up, I know some of you already said when you introduced yourself if you needed renewal credits, but if you could type yes or no in the chat box before you sign off, that would be an awesome way for us to take attendance later.
In the last session I was at, they put an evaluation on the chat. Do we have that option to do? If somebody could put the evaluation just in the chat, and then we can all link it.
Let me double check on that.
Molly, do you have the evaluation? Because I don't have that. And I didn't make one, and Shelly didn't make one. So we were like,
yeah, I don't think that everybody has an evaluation. I think that maybe some teachers had their own evaluation sheets that they like.
Okay, because I think Greg put it on the session last time.
I think it might have been Daisy actually, because I saw her pop in at the end of that session.
Oh, maybe she did.
And it's just a Google
form.
Yeah, Google form. So I'm sure it's floating around out there somewhere.
Okay, I will check and see if I can get that in the next few minutes.
So I am right now, people keep asking for the link. And I'm gonna put it in again. Also, if you go to the documents or whatever on the conference schedule, all that will be in there. And there are links to everything that I was showing you. They're all linked through this slideshow. So if you go to this slideshow here, the bit.ly, it's got everything I was just presenting to you, except the links to my classroom, because I don't think you can get in there. But there were some questions in here, and they're kind of far back, but does anyone else have any specific questions about the writing or how you produce it? Someone was asking something about a talk or record text option. Who's that? Marlise? Is Marlise here? Hi, I see you.
Marlise, are you there?
I think she's trying to unmute.
Yeah.
So it should be at the bottom of your screen on the left.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if there was a way that students could, through your Google Slides or whatever, just talk into the microphone and have the text for those essays and whatnot, just because I know, you know, students with learning disabilities and things, if that is a tool that's out there.
Well, Google has a feature where they can do talk to text, and I think that you just have to put those settings on their Chromebook or within their Google account. You can make those settings for sure. There's also a setting in their Google account where if they're, say they go to a website, they can highlight a text, and she's kind of this robotic woman voice, but she reads it. Another piece is for learners that have needs like that too, I'll have them say, like there's an 8th grader who says, I'm done with my assignment. I say, go read this chapter of Cleopatra on online voice recorder. And then they've, over time, actually created their own audiobooks for books. And a lot of them are on YouTube, like even the Young Readers Edition, they had someone reading that on YouTube. So,
okay, cool, thank you.
But those are definitely options. Got some new messages here. Okay.
So it looks like for everybody who is asking for the evaluation form, you will get it tomorrow in the Have Fun session for all the presentations.
Great. Someone asked about how long I gave him to complete the website. Shasta, if Shasta's still here, you're asking about, sorry, that's something you can put on my evaluation. Shanna, take time to answer questions throughout. We spent probably 2 weeks on the website.
Okay. I also saw that you had the kids develop a timeline with a calendar as you were going through. You answered my questions, so thank you.
I gave them, you know, like here's the due date, and of course you hold their hand through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and expect it to change because it always does.
And I work with younger kids, so I was just kind of thinking about my 5th graders and how long it would take them.
Yeah, they could totally do it. They could totally do it. You know, normally we read a book and then do the culminating activity. This was kind of like they took chapters of the book because it was nonfiction and then did the different parts and pieces of it. So I feel like we, you know, it might have been 3 weeks because we took longer reading through and because we were reading and writing at the same time. So just depending, I would give them maybe a month depending how many pages they have and how many kids, if they're working in partners or not.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Questions? I'm looking through here. There's so many So you're gonna have a few pages, Molly, to look through. Okay, so you have 10 minutes left. You can all go and open a Google Doc, the one that says MLA report, and you can start composing your paragraph. Use colors. See if you can do it in the next 9 minutes. It's your challenge.